Well, someone asked me recently, how come you didn't get Jay-Z? You know what my answer was? How come you didn't get Jay-Z?
I live in a constant state of wanting to prove myself.
Words are powerful.
Definition of power is freedom.
Rap, it's my way to vent and let other people know that I've been there and I know what it's like.
It still feel like a dream every day.
It was a trip. I mean, I think he came to the office and three of us sat in a room with Nas to pitch him the series, the idea. You know, but Peter did a little talking, Sacha did a little talking, and then they kicked it to me. And Nas is he's a poet. He's Miles Davis. He's subdued, he's quiet, and he just took it in. He just kind of nodded, and it was like, you know, in his kind of raspy voice, it was like, all right, that sounds dope. And what Sacha got out of the project because of the relationship, you see a side of him no one would ever be able to get.
Old school, new school, no school rules.
I'll keep it 100. I didn't know anything about Logic. And so when I learned Logic's story and you see his success, you learn about what he's gone through, he's a perfect example of someone who used hip hop as a way to take ownership over his identity, over himself, and use that story as a way to inspire people. We want a window into what your life is like, what your creative process is like, what your aspirations are, and these days an hour for most people who have very weak attention spans is a real commitment. With every episode, even if you don't know who the artists are, you'll come away learning something about someone that has a value beyond hip hop. For a long time, what was happening in the inner city went undocumented. I am, of course, thankful to those who had the foresight, who weren't native, who understood the value of it and documented it. Hip hop for the longest time, you know, people like to put things in this quote unquote black box. Finally, years later, it's starting to get that recognition. Even me as someone, or even Ben, people who strive to be as authentic as possible, to tell the most authentic story. We're human beings too. There are things that get lost in translation. There are things that get lost to biases, even though we say that we don't have any.
I brought in a cinematographer I've worked with many, many times, James Adolphus, who is a painter. Came up with an aesthetic, a code. We wanted this to look sublime. The quality of their music had to be met with the quality of the aesthetic of the series, and that was the standard we tried to chase.
You've got to listen. When that person recognizes that you're really listening and you're engaging them and you're asking them questions, once they see that you have a certain level of sensitivity, then you can ask a harder question and a harder question. It's like building muscles. That is what in the streets they call a jewel. I just gave away some of my core secrets, and I don't know if I regret it, but if this conversation in this room with 8 people can generate more conversations, to me that's where the value is, and that's what music is, that's what hip hop is.
I would add to that is, not that these stars want to hear about my life, but if I'm willing to give up part of me, be vulnerable to them, that builds that respect. Like, okay, this guy's going to show me that he's willing to put himself out there so that I can go ahead and do the same thing. And then doing your research.
For the record, I'm ice cold when I do these interviews. I don't smile, but what I'll do is I'll try to bust one little tear that kind of just hangs out right there. It just chills. It's almost like petroleum jelly. It's like right there. I just like quiver my cheek a little bit, and that gets them open. But I don't give up anything outside of the tear. I just keep it totally ice cold, man. That's part of it. Pimping ain't easy.
Different techniques.
Part of my technique.
That's right.